Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
Replay Guitar Exchange is your premier independent guitar store. Being independent is good. With all of the major brands, including new, vintage, and pre-owned, you can find the guitar, bass, amp, or accessory you are dreaming of. From vintage to the newest models, Replay Guitar Exchange can help you find that perfect piece. They have industry veteran expert staff, all players like you down to the owner. You aren't just getting a great guitar, you're getting the Replay difference. Find them online at replayguitar.com and find your dream guitar today.
Retro Arcade brings Minnesota and surrounding areas arcade games from the days gone by. All of those great games from pizza joints and arcades are available in cocktail units and custom machines. Dozens of favorites from your youth in one machine to complete your game room or man cave. Retro Arcade also sells and services your favorite pinball machines. Find them at facebook.com/80arcade. That's facebook.com/80arcade. Retro Arcade. Your youth is just one click away.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that rock shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsdesigns.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook for special offers and custom orders. That's sasspantsdesigns.com, sasspantsdesigns.com. Sass Pants will make you the envy of the party.
Would I listen to Izzy Presley? Ooh, not if he was the last disc jockey on earth, honey.
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary.
Why did you say that? Why? Why? You come out with stink like that? Poop. Your poop mouth. Poop out of your mouth.
See, son? Old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
I've got a midget friend, an albino friend, and another friend who thinks Lord of the Rings is real. Together we call ourselves the Unfuckables.
Quinton is in. Let the fun begin.
Body touch.
God, you're an asshole, man.
Hello, Hollywood. How was that for you? Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. And hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and as always, good to be seen. My name is Izzy Presley, and this is another fucking podcast. It is Thursday night, September 19th, 2019, 6:04 p.m. in the beautiful California time, beautiful downtown Burbank, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. I've got a great show lined up for you. And second half of the show, my good friend Matt Larsen is joining the show. And we are going to give our take on the latest Three Sides of the Coin episode. And now, keep in mind, I love these guys. They are good friends of mine, and I'm always honored to be on that show when they ask me. And I guess I'm doing it because, well, they didn't ask me to be on this show, and this would have been an excellent show to say, hey, Izzy, you should join us. This is going to be a great conversation. I would have loved it. It would have been great. But I did not get that call. And Matt just listened to that show this afternoon, and Matt is a fellow Kiss Geek. and Matt took notes. So we're going to have some fun. And look, none of this is ripping on the guys at Three Side, even though they have some kind of weird love affair with something called Dr. Fuck. I don't know what that is or why, but that's for another time and another bat channel or something. I don't know. So we're going to get into that about what saved Kiss. Of course, they have their nice little headline. Did Ace and Peter leaving Kiss save Kiss? Blah, 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 blah. So we're going to give our takes on that, and we're going to add some stuff to that conversation as well. Mostly because I was not able to be on that show to give my take on it. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a lifelong Kiss fan, and I have an Ace Frehley tribute band, and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so we're going to get to all that. Second half of the show, Matt Larsen will be joining us. And make sure you hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley, all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and the Facebook. And the show page is another effing podcast. That's right, another effing podcast. The T-shirt link is available. I've sold a couple T-shirts. Somebody just got their I Love Van Hagar T-shirt. Rather proud of that. I love that. I love that shirt, and I'm glad somebody loves it as well. If you don't want the shirts and you just want to donate to the show, it is very, very, very simple. On the show page, there is a PayPal link. That's right, a PayPal link, which you can just click and donate money. Donate money to the show, and, well, I mean, if it's enough, we can put it back into the show. If it's not enough, it's just going to get my bank account out of the red. Hey, at least I'm fucking honest about it. Right? Right. Also accept, let's say we take PayPal, we take Venmo, we take Zelle if you have my phone number, Cash App, Apple Money Transfer, whatever the Apple Pay. I take it all. Carrier Pigeon, Smoke Signal, whatever. I don't care. So if you want to donate, cool. If not, I don't care. Whatever. Just listen to the show. And share the show and tell your friends about the show. If you are listening live on Spreaker right now, hit that follow button. And then you will get notified every single time I go live. So you can join the show. You can comment. And sometimes we can even have you call in now that we're set up. Yeah, it's like on Tuesday night when the Grandmaster of Groove, Doug Pinnick, returns to talk about the brand new KXM record, what is going on in the King's X world, and talk about the Jimi Hendrix Experience tour that he just did and is going to continue to do, I believe. Rather excited about that. I love Doug. He's a great guy, great person, and amazing bass player, iconic, 69 years old, man. Dude is 69. Melissa Sasspants, please email me what you want in your new ad. I've got somebody that's going to cut it for you. So we are going to do that. What else do we got? Working on a couple more guests coming up. I'm not going to let you know who they are until they come through. So I'm going to start off with a radio icon, and Brandvold's already commenting, do I have to listen? Just give me the Cliff Notes version. Okay. Simple. You're wrong. All right, very well. All right, so when I was growing up, my late high school years and my early years right out of college, my station in St. Cloud was Rockin' 101, and I was very lucky enough to have been a part of that station, doing afternoon drive for a couple years in the early aughts, or the early 10s, or whatever the hell that would be, before I moved out to Los Angeles. And of course I had my show Under the Covers with Izzy Presley, which has got me into radio. But that was my station back in the day. I remember, listening to Randy Kay and Scott the Pedophile Clone and Hal Hoover and all those great guys, and Mick Stewart, who was actually just texting with Mick Stewart today. He texted me this morning. He's like, dude, did you hear about Stryker? I was going through all this stuff, and I found found these pictures and all this stuff and just remembering him a little bit. And I actually invited Mick on, which reminds me, I have to send Mick a link to this. I have to send Mick the link to this. Where are we at? But he's busy tonight. He wasn't able to do it, but he said sometime he'll come on. And I love Mick Stewart. Great guy. But the other guy was Ron Stryker. Well, there was Bob Burt, Sean Sebastian, I mean, all those cats. But Stryker was the guy, one of the guys I used to call up and bug all the time. Mick Stewart as well. Just being a fan, you got to know these guys. You got to know that crew. And not only because, they're out and about doing stuff, but they were personable. They were live on the air, and, you could call in. And Stryker used to do this show called this gimmick called Rock Check. And it was great. And I almost thought about doing an honorary Ron Stryker Remembered Rock Check. And what Ron would do, and I just don't have the time to do it. I mean, I do, but I don't know how many people would call in with the jokes and all that kind of stuff. But what he'd do is he'd take calls for about an hour, and it was just people telling stupid jokes. And I would call in every single night. Every night was some kind of joke. It was always, it was usually about making fun of bennies, because there's this college in St. Joe called St. Ben's and St. John's. St. John's is the guys' college. St. Ben's is the gals' college. So there was a lot of Benny jokes, and they looked like dogs and yada, yada, yada. And then one joke crossed the line, and all of a sudden there was a no-joke rock check, and now there was no rock check. Fuck, I remember rock check. That was great. But Stryker was always one of those guys that I would call in and bullshit with. When he had time, it was cool. I mean, if he was busy, I felt bad, and then he's like, hey, man, I got to go. I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever. Of course, he knew me for my Kiss requests, and it was usually something off the wall that they couldn't play. But every once in a while, he'd throw that shit in, and Stryker was great. Stryker was great, and I remember I went into the first time I met him, I was nervous as hell because you're these guys you listen to on the radio. It's different now for me because I've been there and I know what it's like, but. It was weird when I met Stryker. I remember I went into the Red House. It was after hours. Rockin' 101 is a small family-owned place, and it was a Red House that had I think it had 2 or 3 stations in it at the time, maybe 2. Was it 2 or 3? I can't remember. He's like, "Yeah, man, come on by." Picking up a prize because I used to win prizes all the time too. I'd get my monthly prize and yada yada yada. And he opened the door, and there he was. These piercing blue eyes, and I was in awe. I was literally in awe. And I made some kind of Blues Brothers joke or whatever, and I can't remember if I think I was picking up tickets or a CD or something. I can't fucking remember. I used to win so much shit from Rockin' 101. Oh, man, I love that station. Holy shit, look at this blonde on the Twins game right now. Hey, baby, how would you feel about friend zoning me? So that was the first time I met him, and then they did this thing, and I think this had to be around 91, because I think this was the summer after I graduated high school. And they did this show at... oh my God, what was that fucking place? Richards, you would know this. It was Molly Hatchet, it was Gemini, it was outdoors. It was at the Pirates Cove. That's right. It was at the fucking Cove, at the Pirates Cove. And Molly Hatchet was the surprise national act. And no, it wasn't the Cove. It was, or was it the Cove? It was right on the river. It burned down. Can't fucking remember it. Richards, tell me. Oh my God, this is gonna bug the hell. Anyway, it was an outdoor show. I think I was 19, and we knew the bouncers because they went to Cathedral, but we still couldn't get a fucking beer, of course. But I remember I was sitting on the grass, and Stryker just came over and started bullshitting with me. I was just kind of laying down, resting, whatever, and that's when he told me that Pirates Cove. Okay, there you go. That's when he told me, and this is 1990. This is 1990. Or no, it was 91. It would have been summer of 91. That's when he told me that Rob Halford was gay. And I'm like, what? No. He's like, yeah, dude, really. I'm like, how do you know? He's like, well, let me tell you this story. And this is direct from Ron Stryker's mouth. Ron was at something in some kind of convention in Phoenix or something like that. Or no, maybe it was at NAMM or something like that. I don't know. But he's like, at that time, Halford did not do interviews. But he offered Ron an interview. But the catch was he had to go back to Halford's room with him. And Ron said he politely declined. But that's how I found out Rob Halford was gay. All because of Ron Stryker. Then he moved to, let me pull up this story here. Indiana. Is it Indiana? St. Joseph County. And he was on the Bear 103.9 for many, many years. And I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what happened. I did a little Googling today to find out what happened. So there's no news on it. But it's funny because I tracked him down when I was on 101. just to say hey, and hey, this is Tommy Elwell. I was that redheaded dork that used to bug you all the time at Rockin' 101. Ironically, I'm on Rockin' 101 now. I am in the air chair. I am doing the free ride at 5. Believe that. He's like, dude, that's great. That's so cool. Great to hear from you. Make sure you tell Gary and everybody hi. And I did. So that was the last time that I hit up. I think I hit up Stryker too when I moved out here and I started doing Under the Covers, and I was trying to sell it as a syndicated show, which never obviously happened. But Stryker was a great guy. He really was. He had a long, illustrious career in radio, which doesn't really happen a lot these days. You know, you got to be good. You gotta be able to generate money nowadays in radio. And Stryker was one of the best. He had a great voice. He had a great tone. Brian Richards used to be on 101. Says, Ron is a great guy to work with. Taught me the art of doing cool transitions and segues between songs. We often did a crossover during the last break of his shift right before I took over at midnight. Classic radio. Oh my God. I think my favorite show that Ron used to do though was when him and Bob Burt, and then it was him and Sean Sebastian, and they used to do the Rockin' 101 Metal Shop. That was cool. They'd always play Scatterbrain for us and all that shit. That was cool. So Stryker will be missed, even though I haven't talked to him in years. The news hit me, and it was like, wow, man. It's like one of those things from your youth, and it's like he was one of those guys that made me want to get into radio. At that time, I never thought I ever would have, but he was one of those guys. I mean, I always say it's like Eddie Trunk. He's the guy I wanted to be in radio, but it wouldn't have been that without Stryker and like Mick Stewart and those guys. So I heard that Stryker passed away. It's like, wow, man, that's too bad. That's too bad. How old was he? He couldn't have been that old. It doesn't even say in this article, does it? Wow. Yeah, it's too bad. That's just too bad. So rest in peace, Ron Stryker. And then just the other day on Tuesday, actually no, it was a Monday or Tuesday when I got the news that Steve Gorenberg died. And a lot of you don't know who Steve Gorenberg is. He's a guy that I just knew from around town. He used to come out to all the Soundcheck Lives, and I used to see at the Rainbow all the time. And I always thought he was a comic. He looked like he should be a comic. It's like you look at him, it's like, God, that dude's a comic. He's like, nah, I'm not a comic. I'm a bass player. I'm like, that explains a lot. But Steve did a lot of work with, he was a bass player, and he transcribed, and he did like bass books and stuff like that. And the best story he ever told me about that is his very first thing that he did. He was summoned to do the the bass tabulature for Metallica's And Justice for All. Now, anybody who knows, there is no bass on Justice for All. You cannot hear it. It's not in the mix at all. Barely in the mix. So they sent him down to the show and sent him up, hooked him up backstage or whatever. And he went up and talked to Newstead. He's like, so I got the job of transcribing the bass line for the Justice for All record. And Newstead just stopped and he goes, really? What are you doing tomorrow night? He's like, I don't know. I was like, well, come to the show. I'll hook you up. I'll take care of you, and then we'll go back to my hotel, and I'll show you. I'll help you out. And so he did. He went back the next night to the next town that they were in, and it was the Northeast, so it was all close. I think that one of them was at Hartford. New Haven. One of them was in New Haven. That's right, because he said he was at the Van Halen show, the 5150 Van Halen show for Live Without a Net. And he went back the next night, and he goes, dude, everybody was so nice. Everybody was so cool. They took care of him. The whole Metallica crew was great. Everybody in the band was great. So they go back to Newstead's hotel room. And Newstead pulls out a smaller scale bass and he sits down and goes, get your notepad ready because I'm going to play. He sat and played the entire record for him on bass just so he could get those bass lines right because you can't hear them on the record. It's like, dude, it's like so cool. And he told me that story. I'm like, dude, that is so badass. Now, you might remember a couple months ago when I was going off about music douchery. Yeah, I was talking about Not a Comic. Oh God, we used to give each other so much shit. The last time I saw him was at the last Soundcheck Live, and I just remember he came up to me outside. We were smoking. I'm like, dude, Not a Comic. He's like, hey, my favorite Republican. I'm like, what? I never said I was a Republican. It's like, really? I'm like, yeah. But that's what he thought of me. Oh my God, he was a great guy. He was loved by many, loved by a lot of people in the scene. He went to all the shows, supported all the bands, and he was actually in a band. He was in a Alice Cooper tribute band called Nightmare that plays around out here. Monster bass player, super nice guy, and then he died of a heart attack. And he was not old. I mean, he was probably maybe 50 tops. 50 tops, something like that. It's just so sad, man. You know, it's like I'm going to be 47 next month, and I'm not the healthiest bulb in the bunch. And it doesn't matter. It's just that time. It's your time, and you go. It sucks. But it is. It's life, man. Life, birth, death, and taxes. Is that how it goes? The only two things that are guaranteed in life are taxes and death. Let's live it up. Don't be a douche. Just be good to people, for Christ's sakes. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Be good. Because you want people to remember you like that. You don't want people to have to forcefully say that, yeah, he was a good dude. But when in reality, you're like, God, that guy was a fucking prick. No. Live by my motto. Live your life, have fun, and don't be a douche. That's all that matters. That's all you can do. Live your life, have fun, and don't be a douche. Okay, Stryker was 51. There you go. There you go. Stryker was 51 years old. Not a Comic was probably 49, 50. So rest in peace, Ron Stryker. Rest in peace, Steve Gorenberg. It's sad, but we go on. That's all we can do. We can remember the good times, remember the impact that they had on our lives. I'm living proof of that right here. Stryker helped inspire my radio stuff, and Not a Comic, well, we just gave each other shit about music, which is what good friends do. And we drank Jack Daniels and had fun. And that's all that matters. All right. So I'm going to get into this story. I'm going to text Matt, tell him 10 minutes. All right, 10 minutes. I want to get into the story, and I wasn't going to even touch this. I was just going to do the first half of the show in memoriam, and the second half of the show, we're going to talk Kiss. But I saw somebody post this article, and it is basically, so glad I don't eat this crap, blah, blah, blah. And there's a picture of bacon and eggs. And the article comes from bigthink.com. And the headline is, no one should be doing the ketogenic diet, says top U.S. cardiologist. Why did this perk my interest? Because it's all bullshit. This article is based off of and this is what you have to, this is why you read articles, folks. This is why you do your research and you read and you know, going through an article, how this is complete bullshit. Now, this article is based off of an interview with the former president of the American College of Cardiology. Okay, you see that and go, oh my God, this must be spot on. Well, the American College of Cardiology former president, his name is Dr. Kim Williams. Dr. Kim Williams is a well-proclaimed vegan. He's a vegan. And the article, this interview was done with, I don't know if you're ready for this, a place called Plant-Based News. Okay? Now, why would vegans have something against the ketogenic diet? Because you can do the ketogenic diet without eating meat. No. Because they think that all this does is push meat, which actually you should be eating meat. You should be getting that fat that you need. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, watch the Vinnie Tortorich documentary, Fat, a documentary. You will understand everything. You need fat. You need B12. You need that stuff that you cannot get from plants. Okay? Okay. So now we have an article that is all about an interview that was done with a vegan publication. And there is something in here, too, about Harvard. And I think he was worked with Harvard for a while, too. The thing that you have to remember with Harvard, the University of Minnesota, anytime that you see studies coming out of these schools, you must know that there are industries that donate millions of dollars to these schools to do these research studies to make it look like their products are more important and healthier for you. The corn industry, which of course, makes corn oil, and all that kind of stuff. Corn oil is terrible for you. Corn is not good. It's a starch. Starch is a grain. So this is what you have to think about when you read this kind of stuff. This is basically a vegan propaganda article. People have to remember that, and they try to scare you with facts and figures and terms like long-term health risks and yada, yada, yada. Now, if anybody listens to Vinnie Tortorich and the doctors, multiple doctors that he has on that show, you will know that this article is complete bullshit. Just like the movie What the Health. The thing with Vinnie's movie that you have to remember, and this is the exact opposite of like knife over fork or fork over knife and What the Health and all that kind of stuff, is those quote unquote documentaries took money from vegan organizations and yada, yada, yada. And they had these nut job vegan doctors in there. And it was all fake. It was just bad. Just bad. It's a vegan propaganda film. Now, Fat, Vinnie's movie, took no money from no industries. He had offers from the meat industry. He had offers from the egg industry, all that kind of stuff. He said no because he wants this to be clean. He wants this to be real. He does not want any kind of industries getting their paws on something that he is creating to tell you the truth about what is actually the truth. So go on, watch the Vinnie Tortorich movie, Fat, a documentary, and you got to look for these subtle little things when you read these articles. Because a lot of times, anything that is anti-keto is usually coming from some kind of vegan place. And I've said it before, I'm saying I do not hate vegans. I have friends that are vegans. Whatever. Do whatever you want to do. Just be smart about it and don't be a dick about it. You know, that's all I got to say. All right, so I am going to take a short little break. And, Bruce just checking in from Canada. I just had bacon, eggs, and pancakes for dinner. Okay, you shouldn't have those pancakes. That's not exactly keto. And look, I'm not one to be preaching because I'm drinking a delicious root beer right now. I am drinking a fucking root beer right now. But it's a Bargs. It's got bite. It's delicious. So we are going to take a short break. Matt Larsen will be in studio here in just a second, and we are going to have some fun in the Kiss world, talking about the 3 sides of the coin episode from this week, talking about what saved Kiss. Be right back. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. It is another fucking podcast. Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
If you need to promote your band or business, or just want to stylize, personalize, or customize your ride, check out vid-decals.com. Want to create and customize your own stickers representing your band, or make your own bumper sticker? Vid Decals can do it. All stickers are printed on quality vinyl and can be placed on any flat surface. Stickers are an affordable way to promote your band or business. Go to vid-decals.com to get started. That's vid-decals.com. vid-decals.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that rock shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsdesigns.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook for special offers and custom orders. That's sasspantsdesigns.com, sasspantsdesigns.com. Sass Pants will make you the envy of the party.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tom Arnold. I like fat women and cocaine. And you're listening to Izzy Presley here on another fucking podcast. And I know Izzy from Cocaine Anonymous meetings. I've actually seen him at the meetings with Ace Von Johnson from, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but Ace has got a bad coke problem. And his sponsor is Josh Todd from, and again, I shouldn't say this out loud, but Josh is his sponsor for Buck Cherry. He's addicted to upskirt porn. And they're both being sponsored by the Eagles. The whole band, the Eagles. Anyways, another fucking podcast right here with Izzy Presley, and call your sponsor. Fucking A.
Fucking A. First half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification. Check those out. BeaterAmplification.com. That's 2 E's. Hand-wired, hand-built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude. These things are awesome. The Izzy Presley signature model, the TCB1, will be out soon. Cannot wait. They're building it as we speak, building the prototype. I cannot wait. Second half of the show, which we are in now, brought to you by John Palumbo Design. We love us some John Palumbo. Great guy and great designer. You have a website. You got a band logo you need. You have a small business logo you need. Hit up John Palumbo, johnpalumbodesign.com, and AMP Productions Laser Engraving. Hit them up too. For your laser engraving needs, got some great specials going on at all times. And yes, the Izzy Presley, another effing podcast, Roadie Packs, will be back soon. All right. Rejoining the show, Matt's been on once or twice?
Once before, I believe.
Twice.
Yeah, once we were talking Star Wars.
Yes.
The other time we had we talked Black Veil Brides, I believe.
Oh yeah, you were hanging around during that interview, which is no longer online.
No. Yes, that's correct.
Is it safe to post that again?
You're asking the wrong person.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm not bad. Not bad. Let's give people a little history on you. You've been in the music industry for a long time.
Oh, yeah. For longer than I'd care to share. But yeah, show my age, but yes.
But, okay, we're what, Interscope?
Interscope Records. I worked with Tommy Lee for a bit. I've worked with a few independent labels, and I've worked for Monster Energy, doing music marketing for them. So I've been around the block a little bit. I'm a bit of a music whore, so to say.
Cool. And like myself, you're a lifelong Kiss geek.
Yes, since I was probably like 7 years old.
Yeah.
Since the mid-'70s.
Mid-'70s. And the reason I brought Matt on is because we both listened to this week's episode of Three Sides of the Coin. And I love those guys over at Three Sides. And this is not a shot at those guys whatsoever. But our chance to expand on what they may have talked about this week. Now, their big thing that they're talking about was, what saved Kiss. And then went all the way through their history. It's like, well, this saved them at this point, this saved them, yada, yada, yada,
yeah.
Which we're going to get to. But I think there's something that we need to address that they talked about vehemently. Is that a word?
Vehemently.
Vehemently. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
About the postponement of a couple shows.
Look, they didn't cancel them. They postponed them. That happens from time to time.
It does.
Generally, Kiss do stick to their schedule better probably than most artists. They've probably more so canceled tours to lack of interest, more so than they've had to cancel individual shows. But, look, these guys aren't spring chickens anymore. I mean, Gene, I think he said he had a medical issue or something. So, it happens. They didn't cancel it. They rescheduled. It's very... a buddy of mine, was coming out to the L.A. show, and, he was very upset because he bought tickets. He's from the East Coast, and he had bought tickets and everything to come out, and now it got moved to March 4th, which, ironically enough, is my birthday. So I might have to...
Look at that!
I might have to break down and see the end of the road show, because it's on my birthday. So, but anyways, it happens. They're not canceling the tour.
No, they're not canceling the tour.
I think, they'll continue on as long as there's money to be made. They will be present.
But I think the thing that they were blind to, and they kind of skated. How much has this have to do with low ticket sales? I think because all you got to do is go on a computer and see what's available.
Yeah, there could be that. I mean, L.A. is not the biggest rock market anymore,
right.
And they might needed a little more time to market the show. And they played a few months ago. Was it out in San Bernardino or what?
Oh God!
Or no. They played out at they played I think a show at San Bernardino, and shortly after that, they did a show
Anaheim.
Well, that was the Anaheim. Yeah, that wasn't San Bernardino. It was Anaheim
and
the Forum. So that was two hits to the L.A. Greater Los Angeles area. So hey, it might need a little more time, maybe speaking to the promoter about that. And so, we need a little more space in between we do another show. The tickets might be a little soft. But look, the health issues, again, could be something, who knows? But they're still committed to doing another performance.
Absolutely. So. I just think that ticket sales probably had a lot to do with it because of the reasons you said. But, it was a scheduling conflict. Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, the scheduling conflict was it was too close to the shows that they just did here. But, hey, I just feel sorry for the people that scheduled travel to come out here for the gigs. So.
Yeah. Well, I know, like Mark from Three Sides. He was good. He was planning on coming out.
I don't know if Mark Striegel, who's an acquaintance of mine, who's in the podcast world as well. I think there's a thing called Talking Metal. He was coming out here for that show. But we'll be coming out for the Guns N' Roses show this weekend.
Oh, no, that's right. That's right. GNR's playing at the Palladium?
At the Palladium. Yeah,
tickets for $1,500 a piece?
It's those corporate things. They did a thing with Citibank, so...
that's right.
Moved to the city. Oh, boom, boom.
What you did there, I saw it.
Yeah. So, hey, it'll be nice to see him, but he had that issue. He was going to come out for the show coming up here, and he got fucked. So, but be it as it may, he's out for the Guns N' Roses, which is great.
There you go. But that's the industry.
Well, it's hey, it's rock and roll. It's not perfect.
Exactly.
It's never going to be perfect. If it was perfect, whoa.
Yeah, look at those titties. Thank you, Sean Thornton.
If it was perfect, it probably wouldn't call it rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you have notes. You took some notes. You took some notes. Where do your notes start? Do your notes start in the beginning, or do your notes start like...
for one thing, I think the podcast episode was probably mistitled. It seemed to spend a lot more time on Billy Squier than Kiss. I would have called it the Billy Squier / and some Kiss podcast.
Yeah, they did talk about that Billy Squier thing.
Which is great. I mean, we all love Billy. Billy, he's great. But, and I tell you what, you might disagree with me. I don't disagree with the title of the episode, but it's sort of a little poking at Ace and Peter. I think.
I think it's that. I think it's a little clickbait too. They're known to do that.
Well, there you
go. They're known to do that.
But
when they're talking about the era of Alive and Destroyer, and it said, even if Alive would have been a dud, they had another record label that they were going to sign with.
At that time. I mean, they had enough momentum that I'm sure they could easily find a deal. But the thing is with Casablanca that you would find with other labels at that time, Casablanca thought very out of the box.
Right.
You wouldn't have gotten a little gun that popped in your vinyl copy of purchasing it if you were maybe on Atlantic Records. So and I think that was kind of part of the brilliance of that label.
Right.
And they were correct in what they were talking about, and that, Alive saved the label. And you could probably blame Kiss on disco or thank them being whatever you like, because a lot of you had Donna Summer and a lot of other disco artists that came out of Casablanca.
Right.
It was very huge for them.
Well, but let me ask you this: if Alive wouldn't have had the success that it had and really put them on the map, would they have been able to get Bob Ezrin for Destroyer? And would Destroyer have been what it was And would that momentum of just because it was Destroyer when it came out was a dud. When it came out,
Destroyer. I mean, Bob Ezrin, he was working with Alice Cooper, so the logical move for him career-wise, I think, would have gone with an artist like Kiss. It's really hard to say, speaking on the unknowns, but
right. Well, this is all hypothetical.
Yeah, most of these podcasts are working in the hypothetical, but it's fun. That's what makes us Kiss tards.
I know.
But yeah, would have had the whole thing that they always say about Alive. What made that record successful was that it was taking the live show that what everybody loved and putting it on wax. And, and also at that time, that record and the Frampton record.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there was a Ted Nugent record. So the timing was right.
Was Double Live Gonzo out by then?
It might have been a few years later, but that was in the 70s. So,
yeah,
but around that that 3-year, 4-year period, like live rock records were, the timing was right. Everything lined up for them. But the Alive record, you got to think also that the artwork for that record, I think, had a big thing to do with it. You look at that artwork, and I'm sure there were tons of kids that bought that record just for that front cover,
right?
And were taken to a place that they never knew before. It's great marketing, by Kiss, but I think as well as the record company and Bill Coyne, and they had an amazing team around them. And that's the thing. If they went to an Atlantic or another, Warner Brothers or something like that, they wouldn't have had that team around them, and could have gotten lost in the shuffle. But they had the momentum. They had, there was clearly a buzz around them at that time. But they were never a band that had radio around them, especially on those early records.
Right.
They were never a radio-based band. It was always about the live show, and that's what really solidified them was Alive.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I guess when you talk about the name of their show, did Ace and Peter, save Kiss by not being in Kiss? I'm content in that Ace and Peter saved Kiss twice.
Well, I would agree with you, and I think I know where you're going with that.
But I'm going to start with in this era with Beth.
With Beth, because
the song Beth.
Yeah.
Because without that song, if radio didn't flip that record over and start playing that song,
right?
That record was spiraling. It was dying.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, you're right. But probably being of 4 or 5 years old at that time, I wouldn't know. But
same here. Yeah.
The format of radio at that time, a lot of it was AM radio, and did the programmers, it was probably not as focused on just, you had your rock stations, you had your pop stations, you had your urban stations, blah, blah, blah. I assumed it was more of a mishmash. So you could hear a Sly Family Stone record next to an Aerosmith record next to a Kiss record, next to maybe a Donna Summer record. So not knowing that, I'm assuming that's what it was at that time. So, the old story was they got what was it? Was it
Detroit
Rock City on side A? They flipped it over and they listened to Beth. Whoever took the time enough to do that, because I would imagine most DJs or regular programmers at that time did not do that, but somebody took the time to listen, which is great when people actually listen.
Right. Well, and Tommy did make a good point on the show. He said, look, if it wasn't for Beth, they probably wouldn't have gotten the Paul Lynde special. Which took them to another level, too.
Well, the thing with Bill Aucoin, he comes from the TV world, and he understood how important TV was. And in finding a band like Kiss that he did, he knew that how visual they were and how it would work on TV. So you had the Paul Lynde, and then you had what was the first TV appearance?
Mike Douglas.
Mike Douglas. So that was, he probably took those old relationships he had from TV, being from there, and getting him on the Mike Douglas show and whatnot. And so, it's they probably wouldn't have gotten that. I don't know if that was a make or break show for them. At that time, you only had 3 stations to watch.
Yeah, that's true.
So, whereas today you have a million channels, so you're going to have at least probably 10 million eyeballs on that. So, yes, that'll make a difference. But did it break them? No, I think it was the momentum of the band, and
which all started with the momentum from Alive.
Alive, yeah. So,
but I mean, it is so weird to think about that within a span of 76, 77, 78. You look back on it on history, and it just seems like this long thing. But in just 3 years,
it's 3 years.
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 records.
Yeah. Well, and at that time, a lot of bands were making records at least once a year, as opposed to now. You look at Aerosmith, and they were doing a record a year. And, it wasn't uncommon at that time. Those guys, all those bands back in those days worked their ass off. They didn't come up for air. So, and they doubled it up with Kiss.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, and then they had the movie on top of it. It was just such a weird stretch.
They did so much in such a short period of time, and it's like the Beatles. I mean, they did so much in such a short period of time. It's crazy looking back at just, from the late 60s to 78, 79, like all those artists, how hard they worked back then. Especially Kiss.
Hypothetically, because this is all hypothetically, I think Peter leaving Kiss did help Kiss.
Well, yeah, because I love Peter's drumming the way it was more of a jazz-based drum style, and once you brought in Eric Carr, which was much more based on a Bonham sound, it brought a whole different dimension to that band, and and I can't imagine like this. Eric Carr coming in like he's recording his first record for Kiss, and he's all excited. He's gonna rock and everything, and he's got to do the Elder. I mean, like, oh fuck! But it was.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: what do you think with Eric Carr? But if Ace wouldn't have left, what do you think the 80s would have been like with Kiss?
Well, it's interesting because they, on the podcast, they talk about, the looks of the 80s and whatnot. And
they were ugly!
Well, they were ugly, too, but, they were still successful with Vinnie Vincent, and that guy was no prom date.
Right.
So, look, a lot of these bigger, long career bands have all gone through lineup changes.
Yeah.
Aerosmith has, Guns N' Roses has, Van Halen has, all those iconic big rock bands have, but they've all come back around to the core of what they were. Kiss did in like 96, bringing Ace and Peter back.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah,
we are going to.
I'm probably stepping in front of myself. The only really band that I can think of that hasn't done that is ZZ Top. They've been the one band that has never changed their lineup. But, you know, what happened with Aerosmith and, you know, and Joe Perry leaving, you know, that needed to happen.
Right.
You know, just same thing that went on with Kiss. So
just imagine how cool it would have been watching that fucking MTV Unmasking if it was Ace.
Yeah, that would have been a lot cooler. I mean, I think who knows? Would have been, at that time, I don't know if there wasn't that many people that cared,
right?
Either, but you know.
Well, I mean, I think it was still a big deal. It's like this is what Kiss looks like without their makeup.
Of course, people Kiss was the biggest band in the '70s. They were. There was going to be interest, and the thing was, it was probably more so after they unveiled it, and they put a photo in People magazine of it, the unveiling, that people really looked at. Because I don't even, MTV at that time, I don't think was in the homes that it was sort of in the later '80s, and so, but yeah, I mean that was, I didn't have MTV at that time, and I was curious, and I had to find it in a magazine. I didn't have cable at that time.
I saw it when I went to the Shopko, and there it was. It's like, oh my God, they don't have makeup on.
Right.
But I was so stupid. I thought it was still the original band.
But like Lick It Up, it's probably my favorite non-makeup record. I mean, that was such a solid through and through. It was very consistent in the sound and the songs and everything. And then, I'd probably credit to Vinnie Vincent. So.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, though. I mean, because they brought up this point, too. Could Kiss have survived the 80s, the non-makeup era, with Ace?
Well, are we talking sober Ace, or are we talking...
Well, yeah.
You're dealing with a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, this is all what if. I mean...
You're right.
It's all hypothetical.
Hypothetical. If Ace was cognizant, probably. I would assume so. I mean, look, Kiss really, if you look at the songwriting and playing on, like, they've always brought in outside songwriters and different musicians to play on records when whoever didn't show up. I mean, Gene didn't play on some records, so it's not uncommon. I think Ace could survive, but I think, it's about surviving, they bringing in outside songwriters because they, I think it's all in different producers. I think that's always important.
When I hear the Ace version of "Hide Your Heart," it's like
I like that better.
That's what Kiss would have sounded like.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Ace is more true to the hard rock tone. He hasn't deviated from it pretty much at all. He's been consistent more than any other band member of any member of Kiss,
right?
Whether it's Bruce Kulick, bless his heart, I love him to death, but he's more consistent than any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, and let's fast forward.
It's like he is the AC/DC of Kiss.
Yeah, that is an amazing analogy. I fucking love it. He's the AC/DC of Kiss. Great job, Matt.
Thank you.
Let's.
I'm here all day.
We're gonna fast forward to right before the reunion. Revenge doesn't do what they thought it was going to do. The tour doesn't do what they thought it was going to do. And Carnival of Souls, which I think if Carnival of Souls would have come out at that time,
that would have been a death
it would have been
wish.
dead. It would have been I remember because this is before the convention tour, before Unplugged, before all that shit. I can't remember who we were watching at the Delwyn Ballroom in St. Joseph, Minnesota, and Scott Clone's on stage going, "Yeah, we got so-and-so is coming, and Trickster's coming, and maybe even Kiss." And I'm like, at that time, well, yeah! Oh my God! But now I think about it, it's like, oh my God, they'd be playing the fucking Delwyn Ballroom.
Yeah, that's not a good look. Well, look, Kiss at that time, though, I brought it up, the tour on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is not always the most honest thing, but if you look at, like, some of the support acts that were with them, because I think support acts bring a lot to the ticket.
No, I agree.
And
are you talking the Revenge Tour?
Yeah, the Revenge Tour.
We had Trickster and Great White.
Well, there you go. I mean, both bands were were on the kind of downswing in popularity,
because this would have been 93.
You're right, and if you go look at the Hot in the Shade tour, it was Slaughter and Faster Pussycat,
and some dates with Winger.
All those bands were peaking at that time,
right?
So
that's a great point.
That helps out a lot. I mean, I think Revenge is a better record than Hot in the Shade. And probably, well, it's hard to say what had more radio. I would maybe venture to guess that Hot in the Shade did, because
Forever.
Forever. I get those two songs confused.
And I think Hide Your Heart did pretty well.
Hide Your Heart did okay.
And I think,
well, and the thing is with Revenge, it was more going back to their core audience. I mean, that was the first record that I don't know in how long that Gene had the lead off single,
right?
And I don't recall a record that Kiss has done where Gene had the lead off track,
right? No, it's absolutely true.
And look, Gene does not have the voice for radio. Let's just be honest. I mean, which is great. I mean, it's fine with me, but it's sort of interesting.
But that was at that time where, I remember when I first saw the Unholy video, it's like, whoa, this is fucking heavy.
Yeah, I was like, yes, please, more.
Right, and then all of a sudden, God gave rock and roll. Oh, no,
I wasn't mad at that. It was, I just was like, I don't wanna. That was really disappointing to me.
Rise to It off of Hot in the Shade got some airplay as well.
Well, and that's when they teased the fan base with the video.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, yeah, because Rip Magazine, they had a cover with them in their pieced together from different era outfits and bad looking.
Yeah,
makeup.
that's right. They pieced together, like, they got a lot of shit from the Kiss Tards about not being consistent with the wardrobe.
Right. So this brings us up to where Carnival of Souls was going to be the next record. The band is pretty much dead in the water if that comes out. Yeah. I think we can all agree with that.
Oh yeah,
they're done. I mean, I think that record kills them.
And they knew it too.
Oh, absolutely.
They knew it.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were being creative at that time. I mean, you know, they did the Kiss conventions. I don't think they knew it, but they were teasing their old fan base, like, hey, we're showing our history here, which led into the reunion. And
how much of that do you think was because I've heard stories that even before that convention tour, that they were already talking to Ace and Peter.
Well, I'm sure they would always check in with them, keep tabs on them, so to say, with that in the back of their mind, because I think they've kept tabs with them throughout all the years.
Let me ask you this:
in regards to sobriety,
does Kiss Unplugged have the same pop it does without Ace and Peter showing up?
No. I don't think, I know MTV wouldn't have done Unplugged unless
no
they would have showed up.
And that was actually one of the stipulations.
Yeah.
Because Matt Pinfield, when he was on the show, because he's one of the reasons that show happened. He fought for that.
I think there were a number of people that did. There was more than one. There was, because I listened to the Sirius Volume a lot, and there was a guy over there. I can't remember his name, but he's a huge Kiss fan. He worked at MTV around that time. And
isn't it the guy that works? He's like one of the bigwigs.
It was his idea for Volume, which I listen to Volume quite a bit.
So do I.
Great show.
I listen to Eddie.
I listen to Eddie, and I listen to Debatable, and I listen to Left Sets Live once in a while. It's talk radio like sports. So
right,
I think
absolutely.
I love it.
But and this goes back to the fact that Ace and Peter saved Kiss again, because without that,
they would not have that. Yeah,
that reunion wouldn't happen. And this is the thing that really that really made me flare my feathers a little bit.
Okay.
When they were talking about that, about the reunion, all they said was, and that led to them putting the makeup back on. It's like,
they didn't expand on it.
They didn't expand, but putting the makeup back on without Ace and Peter would not have had the effect.
The big question is, so what if Eric Carr would have, didn't unfortunately battle cancer and pass? What if he would have lived on and stayed in the group and they were talking reunion?
I think it still would have been Peter.
It still would have been Peter.
Still would have been Peter.
I agree with you. But
it still would have been Peter. Then after a certain time when it was time for Peter to move on again because of age, because of attitude, because of ability.
Yep.
And I mean, I think all those things had a factor in him not being in the band, obviously. And it would have been Eric.
Yep.
I mean, there would have been no Eric Singer in there, but we would have had the Fox makeup and not.
Right. Well, and the thing is, going back to the Revenge era, they talked about going out of the country when that record, or when the tour started to stiff, which is a kind of a common thing.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi in the early to mid '90s went through the exact same thing. They went over to Europe and were doing stadiums when they couldn't sell out an arena here. So, I mean, it's generally what happens with rock bands.
Right. Well, I
think
think
they go through cycles like that.
We see that now with a lot of the bands from our era, from that '80s era.
Yeah.
I mean, they over tour.
Yeah.
So
it's
like they're in fucking Sheboygan twice a year. And it's like, all right, so okay, let's go see Pussycat. They were here 3 months ago. Fuck it,
Yeah. That's the thing. Like then that happens to some of the '90s bands. Korn did that. They were over touring quite a bit. And, when you go away for a while, I mean, Limp Bizkit, I know we're going off topic a little bit, but Limp Bizkit has gone away, and they do great business now.
Right. Well, I mean, look at it. Look at the year that they started.
Well,
so I mean, this is 18 years ago,
and we're going. And the thing is, everything's circular. Like,
it's a nostalgia.
It's a nostalgia thing. When Kiss came back in the '90s for the reunion, the '70s was hopping. It was all about the '70s. So now we're in 2019. I worked with Limp Bizkit, so I can firsthand. Limp, was late '90s, early 2000s. Well, now it's all about the 90s right now. So it's all nostalgia. So it makes sense. So
yeah, because you got these people that were in high school when that stuff was big. Now it's like, oh shit, I'm middle-aged and I've got a good job. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, so
and you're reliving your youth, and I think, but I think as
some people never left their youth, like myself.
Well, yeah, me either. But I think that's another problem with the society. Is a lot of people,
a whole other podcast.
How people can't let go of their youth. I mean,
yeah,
I'm one to talk because I have a fucking closet full of jerseys, like a kid. Brian checking in says, speculation is that Eric Carr would not have been in Kiss much longer, even if he had lived. Paul and him weren't getting along at the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's absolutely right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I mean, basically, we would have had Eric again.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
What else you got in your notes, brother?
Well, I mean, I could go to their homework. I did the homework. Which I don't know why you say you got homework to do. Who wants homework? I hate homework.
What was the homework, by the way?
The homework was to check out, go watch Billy Squire.
Oh, yeah. I don't need to watch that again.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've all seen that train wreck. And what else would have saved Kiss? What other moments or events would have saved Kiss? Well, I can't think of it like moments. Like, I can think of certain
right
people that were involved with the band that had a big part, like Desmond Child comes to mind. He was a huge part, I think, of what kept Kiss above. I Was Made for Loving You. I mean, a huge hit. Tears Are Falling, like that song. Like you had Lick It Up, put them back on the map, but what Tears Are Falling did was brought them up a bar or two. Raise the bar for them.
I think you can't argue with what they did with Animalize either, because that
the
album,
whole record.
People forget about that record as double platinum.
Yeah, well, and I think
and Heaven's on Fire, huge.
Yeah, or it's Heaven's on Fire. Yeah, excuse me, but Desmond co-wrote that track, and without Desmond Child being around, I don't know if that band would have gotten through the '80s like they did.
I
without
can't
Desmond Child.
I can't disagree with that at all.
They're I think certain champions of the band throughout their career that help. I mean, Bill Aucoin. There would be no Kiss without Bill Aucoin.
Right. Well, you could make the argument that Desmond Child saved Kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely agree with that.
See, Tommy and fucking Mike and Mark, it wasn't Tommy Thayer that saved Kiss.
No. and Without Love is the best record that Tommy Thayer has done.
Is that a Black and Blue record?
Yes, sir.
Very well.
Produced by Bruce Fairbairn, who also produced the Psycho Circus record.
I have to go into Eddie Trunk mode for a second. I was just talking to Jamie St. James the other day.
Very good.
Yeah, a nice
very underrated band. Love
I agree.
That band.
I agree. Brandon's been on the show. Jamie's going to come on at some point too.
And I guess the other homework question was what Kiss song was better live than on record? I got to go with Deuce.
I got to go with Lick It Up.
Was that off of Live 3? No, I don't ever listen to that record. So.
Well, and it was on Animalize Live Uncensored.
Oh.
See,
that's right.
This is my personal opinion about the song Lick It Up. The studio version of Lick It Up is one of the biggest flaming piles of hot garbage they ever recorded. What? The live version is fucking amazing.
What made it bad?
It's just...
Is it because you had different guitar players?
No. It had nothing to do with that. I think the song Lick It Up it's one of Paul's cheesier songs.
I love cheese.
I'm not saying I don't. I think the presentation of the studio version compared to the presentation of the live version, with the extra stuff that they throw into the live version, makes it a much better song.
I don't know. What's your favorite Lick It Up track?
Oh, my God, that's tough. 1,000,000 to 1 is fucking amazing.
Yes, that is.
I love And on the 8th Day.
I do, too. That's a great song.
I love that song.
The 8th Day, God created rock and roll. I mean, that's a great lyric.
Oh, my God.
I mean, all hell's breaking loose, I got to go with.
That's the greatest white rap song ever. And then fits like a glove.
Fits like a glove.
Lick It Up's a great record.
Yeah.
I still think Asylum is their best non-makeup record.
Exciter.
Exciter's fucking great.
You know what? What was that song? That lead-off track off of what's the record before Monster? What was that?
Sonic Boom.
Yeah. What was that lead-off track?
It wasn't.
It was like Exciter. I swear to God, the riff, or it was just like Exciter.
Oh my God! I always get Sonic Boom and Monster mixed up with the singles.
I can see why. I do too. It could have been a thing as Monster. I don't know.
I think the Monster. It might help if I put Kiss on there.
Yeah.
Wikipedia. Modern Day Delilah.
What was the one off Monster?
Monster would have been.
And look, I don't know these records.
I don't either.
So
I can't.
Full disclosure here.
Yeah.
I bailed out on Kiss after After
Hell or Hallelujah?
That's Exciter.
Okay.
That's just like Exciter to me. It sounds just the same. You tell me, people, if you agree with me or not.
Steve Connolly checking in says, yes, modern day Delilah. See, I told you.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. All
right.
What else do you got? Anything good? Do you think we one-upped them?
No, I mean, but not me. Maybe you. I mean, they're a lot more experienced at this stuff.
I know, but I just think there's some stuff that they didn't.
Well, yeah, I mean,
especially the big part of leaving the Ace and Peter equation out of putting the makeup back on.
Look,
that's what flared me up the worst.
To me, Kiss will always be Ace, Gene, Peter, and Paul. And
I can't disagree with that.
I love the '80s Kiss. There's a lot of great records in there, but I mean, am I going to put on Crazy Nights or am I going to put on Rock and Roll Over? I think I'm going to Rock and Roll Over.
I fucking love it. Matt Larsen, everybody. I can't top that. That's just the best way to end it.
Yeah.
Matt Larsen, everybody. Doug Pinnick coming in on Tuesday.
Whoa! Love Doug Pinnick.
Grandmaster of Groove. Brand new KXM record is out.
Gentleman.
Doug rules. King's X. Whole 9 yards. Doug is great. Always great on the show.
Well, in his other band, the
KXM with George Lynch and Ray Luzier.
Yeah. It's great stuff.
Absolutely.
Ask them if they're going to tour. They need to do some shows.
I doubt it. It all depends on Korn.
Yeah,
because they can't do it without Ray Luzier.
I'll call Jonathan.
There you go. All right, so we'll see you on Tuesday night. This has been fun. And like I said, this was just our chance to poke at the bear. That is three sides of the coin a little bit.
The bear.
Poke at the bear.
Are they really the bear?
Well, I don't know.
I love the podcast.
Oh, I do too.
I listen to
I don't understand the fascination with something called Dr. Fuck, but, anyways, we'll see you next week. Make sure you hit up all the sponsors. The PayPal is izzypresley at yahoo.com if you want to donate to the show.
Do you have a Patreon account?
No.
You should look into that.
If I can make money.
Right.
My name is Izzy Presley. That's Matt Larsen. Don't forget what I lack in talent, I do make up for in cock. It's another fucking podcast.